Let me ask you something weird. When was the last time you were completely alone? No phone, no music, no noise, and you actually liked it? Most people can't even answer that because for most people, being alone doesn't feel peaceful. It feels like punishment. And if that's you, that's not a personality trait. That's a trained fear. And today, I'm going to break it. Here's what actually happens when you're alone. Your brain panics, not because something is wrong, but because you've trained it to always need input, a notification, a voice, a screen, something. We live in a world that has literally engineered every product, every app, every platform to make sure you are never, ever just sitting with yourself. So when the noise stops, your brain freaks out. It calls it boredom. It calls it loneliness. It convinces you something is missing. Nothing is missing. You're just not used to yourself yet. Here's a stat that should make you uncomfortable. The average person checks their phone 96 times a day. That's once every 10 minutes. And most of those checks, there's nothing there. No message, no notification, just a reflex. You're not checking your phone because something happened. You're checking it because being alone with your thoughts for 10 minutes felt unbearable. That's not normal. That's addiction with a better PR team. And here's where it gets actually interesting. Researchers at the University of Virginia ran a study where people were left alone in a room for 15 minutes. No phone, nothing. And then they were given the option to give themselves an electric shock just to have something to do. 67% of men chose the shock. Let that sink in. People would literally rather hurt themselves than sit alone with their thoughts for 15 minutes. That's how badly we've lost the skill of solitude. Now here's what nobody talks about. The people who are actually winning at life, the ones who seem weirdly calm, focused, creative, almost all of them have one thing in common. They're comfortable being alone. Not because they're antisocial, not because they don't like people, but because they figured out that your best thinking doesn't happen in a group chat. It happens in silence. Einstein walked alone for hours. Darwin had a thinking path he walked every single day alone. Solitude isn't weird. It's actually where every great idea comes from. So how do you actually start enjoying it? Because just saying, go be alone, clearly isn't working for most people. Step 1, and this sounds stupidly simple, stop multitasking your alone time. Most people are technically alone, but never actually alone. You're alone, but watching Netflix. Alone, but on a call. Alone, but scrolling. That's not solitude, that's isolation with background noise. Real solitude means being present with zero input, and your brain will hate it for the first 5 minutes. Push through. That discomfort is not a sign something's wrong. It's the sound of your brain detoxing. Step 2, give your alone time a purpose, not a task. A purpose. There's a difference. A task is, I need to reply to emails. A purpose is, I want to figure out why I've been feeling off lately. When you're alone with a purpose, you're not just sitting there feeling sad and weird, you're doing something that literally no one else can do for you. Figuring yourself out. Journal, think, walk with no destination. Ask yourself questions you've been avoiding. The answers are in there. You just keep drowning them out. Step 3, and this is the one most people skip. Stop treating alone time like leftover time. Leftover time is what's left after everything else. After work, after social plans, after doom scrolling for 2 hours. Leftover time is already exhausted time. Schedule solitude like it's a meeting you can't cancel. Even 20 minutes, same time every day. Because the moment you treat it seriously, your brain starts treating it seriously too. And suddenly, instead of dreading it, you start protecting it. Here's the real shift that nobody tells you. People who enjoy being alone aren't people who don't need others. They're people who know themselves well enough that their own company is genuinely interesting. Think about that. The reason being alone feels boring or painful is because you haven't become someone you want to spend time with yet. And that sounds harsh, but it's actually really good news because that's fixable. It's not a personality type. It's not introvert versus extrovert. It's just a skill. And skills are learnable. And here's something kind of wild. Studies show that people who regularly practice solitude have lower levels of social anxiety, not higher. That's the opposite of what most people assume. Most people think the more time you spend alone, the more socially awkward you get. But the research says the opposite. When you're comfortable alone, you stop needing social interaction to validate you. And the second you stop needing it, you get way better at it. You become someone who chooses to be around people, not someone who needs to be. And that energy, people feel that difference immediately. Look, I'm not going to tell you that the moment you put your phone down, you'll find inner peace and start writing poetry. That's not how it works. For the first few days, it's going to feel like nothing. Or worse, it'll feel uncomfortable. Your brain will tell you you're wasting time. It'll throw every distraction it can find at you. But if you push through that wall, even once, you'll feel something shift. A kind of quiet that doesn't feel empty anymore. That's the thing you've been running from. And it turns out, it's actually kind of good. So here's where I leave you. Tonight, not tomorrow, tonight, put your phone in another room for 20 minutes. No music, no podcast, no productive task. Just you. And if it feels uncomfortable, good. That discomfort is the gap between who you are and who you could be. And the only way to close it is to sit in it. You don't need to become a monk. You don't need a meditation retreat. You just need 20 minutes and a locked door. So are you actually going to try it, or are we just going to talk about it again?